Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I am going to show you how to make this beautiful braided crochet cable. This also is the swatch for my Niamh sweater scarf. So it's a 2-in-1 video. I will show you how to make this braided cable, and it will also get you your swatch done for your Niamh sweater scarf. Please give this video a like and a comment, and subscribe to the channel for future educational crochet content. All right, let's get started. For my Niamh sweater scarf, which has a gauge of 20 stitches in the cable section, I used a 4mm hook. If you're not making the Niamh scarf, you can obviously make this cable with any weight of yarn and any hook size, but you should use whichever hook size gets you gauge if you're making the Niamh sweater scarf. To begin, create a slip knot. Then you're going to chain 26. Once you have your 26 chains or your desired width plus 2, you're going to half double crochet into the back bump of the third chain from your hook, and into each chain across. You should now have 24 half double crochets in row 1. Row 2 is really easy. You chain 2 and turn, and then just half double crochet across. 2 rows completed. Now we will begin the cables. Chain 2 and turn. Half double crochet into each of the first 4 stitches. Then you're going to do a front post treble crochet, that's using US crochet terms, into the stitch from the first row or 2 rows previous. So here we've worked 4 half double crochets, so you're going to work that post stitch into the 5th half double crochet from 2 rows previous. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's this stitch here, and it's a treble crochet. I think I might have just said double. It's a treble, so you yarn over twice, and then you're going to go around that 5th stitch from 2 rows previous. And then you'll do the same in the next stitch. Yarn over twice, work around the next stitch from row 1 or 2 rows previous. Then you'll be skipping those 2 stitches in the back and half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Okay, now we're going to begin the first section of the braided cable. It will be worked over the next 8 stitches. Whenever you are crossing cables, you're going to work a double treble. Whenever they're going straight up and down, it's just a regular treble. And again, it's using US crochet terms. So this braided cable begins with a cross in front. So we are going to do a double treble where we yarn over 3 times. We're going to skip over the next 2 stitches because those correspond to these 2 that we worked up here. And then we're going to skip over 3 more stitches. That first double treble will go into the next stitch. So you're skipping a total of 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and doing a double treble stitch around the 6th stitch from 2 rows previous, right there. Double treble. It's a lot of yarning over and pulling through, And I always find too the double trebles at the top gap a little bit. You don't see this very much in the finished product, and it does just kind of add to the beauty of the cable lacy look. Then you're going to double treble the next stitch as well. Now, looking behind your work, you need to leave 2 stitches unworked. That corresponds to the 2 stitches you just did. And you're going to half double crochet into the 3rd stitch from behind. So skip 1, skip 2, half double crochet into this stitch here. And you've just worked the first section of the braided cable. Next, you're going to cross in front and create the braided piece that goes over top of these. So we do a double treble again since we're crossing over. This time, we're going back to that first stitch that we skipped. So these 2 correspond to those 2 stitches, and then the next 3 are part of the cable. So we're going to double treble into these 2 stitches and leave the one in the center unworked. So I find it's easiest to count back from the ones that I already made. 1, 2, 3. That's the one we're looking for. For this swatch, it also happens to be the 3rd one on that side. So it's the center stitch. So we will double treble, crossing our hook in front of those stitches we just made. We're going to double treble around that stitch there. Again, you've got all of your yarn overs on your hook, and you're going to that 3rd stitch. You just cross your hook in front of the stitches you just made and double treble around that stitch. The next one can be a little tricky because things are starting to pull all over. You're going to double treble around the next stitch beside that. Again, crossing in front, double treble around that stitch. And you've just created your first cross in front cable. Then you need to do a half double crochet. So we look 1, 2 stitches, those correspond to the 2 stitches we just made, and you're going to half double crochet into the 3rd stitch. So you can see this stitch is where my previous half double crochet was. We're going to half double crochet into that stitch right there. And there you have it. Now, the braided cable has 3 sections. So the 3rd section for this repeat is just a treble crochet, and we're going to, we see our 1 cable worked into this stitch. We're going to skip that one and treble crochet into that one, the one directly below the stitch we're working with. Treble crochet, and then treble crochet the next one. And that's the braided cable, first row repeat, row 3. Next, we're going to do the same mirror of what we did at the end here. So we'll work 2 half double crochets, making sure that you skip the 2 stitches in the back. Half double crochet, half double crochet. Let me get a bit more yarn here. Then these 2 stitches, you're going to do a treble crochet around. You'll skip the 2 stitches behind and half double crochet into the last 4 stitches. I promise that this row is the hardest row of the whole thing. Getting those cables set up. Once they're set up, it becomes a lot easier. There we go. The next row is an easy one. Chain 2, turn, half double crochet across. While you're working those half double crochets across, make sure that you're always going into the top of the post stitches, because you don't want to pull down and work into those skipped stitches. You leave those stitches from the cables unworked, and when you half double crochet across, you just work into the top of the cable stitches. For the next row, chain 2 and turn. Just like the last one, you begin with 4 half double crochets, whoops, and your 2 treble crochet post stitches. These 2 are not technically part of the cable, but I like how they look, kind of framing the cable. Then half double crochet the next 2 stitches. You'll now begin the second half of the cable crossover. This time we're going to be crossing over these 2 across each other. So these first 2 cable stitches that you made previously, you're just going to work straight up, which means they are just a treble crochet this time. So this time you're going to work around that post stitch created in row 3. Treble crochet. And then again, the next post stitch created in row 3. You'll skip 2 stitches from the row prior and half double crochet into the next stitch. Now this is the trickier way to cross the cables, but we can get through this together. So we are going to do that double treble where we yarn over 3 times, and now we're crossing over and we're working around the next 2 post stitches over here. We're leaving those 2 unworked for right now. Double treble crochet around the first post stitch here, and the next one. 1, 2, 3, good. Now, looking on the back side, you are going to skip those 2 stitches and half double crochet into that third unworked stitch in the back. Half double crochet into this stitch. If you find that difficult to do while you're actually crocheting, if you flip your work, you should be able to find it pretty easily and be able to verify that you skipped 2 stitches, not 3, not 1, just the 2. Now is the tricky part. You are going to double treble crochet over this stitch, but you're going to go under those 2 stitches that you just made. So here's how I do it. I do my yarn overs, then I pop my thumb kind of underneath those post stitches and slide my hook underneath those post stitches. So again, I've done the yarn overs and I slide my hook underneath those post stitches and grab that first post stitch that we're going to work into from the previous row, which is the one that crosses over to the left. So grab that post stitch. Now you'll want to get your working yarn ready grab the post stitch, and you want to make sure that you're not crossing it in front of these two. You want to bring it underneath those two. So now on your hook, you should have the top of your last stitch, your 3 yarn overs, and that post stitch. I'll show that one more time. So we have the 3 yarn overs, we slide under those 2 stitches we just made, we scoop up that first post stitch and bring our hook back under those 2 post stitches we just made. Now, yarn over, pull through just the post stitch, yarn over, and finish your double treble crochet stitch. And you just did a right leaning cable. Then you're going to repeat that for the second part of that cable. Yarn over 3, slide your hook underneath there, grab that post stitch you just made, yarn over, pull through just the post stitch, yarn over, and finish your double treble crochet stitch. And that's it. You did it. Now you've started the braid. It doesn't look super great. It starts to look better after you've completed a few repeats. Now you will skip 2 stitches from behind and half double crochet into the 3rd stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, and then work your 2 treble crochets around those, treble crochet post stitches, I should say, around those 2 post stitches. Skip the 2 stitches from behind and half double crochet those 4 remaining stitches. All of the even rows are going to just be chain 2 and half double crochet across. So I'm going to chain 2 and half double crochet across the next row. To begin the next row, chain 2 and turn. You're now going to be repeating the first row of cables that you did, except instead of working into the half double crochets from 2 rows previous, you'll be working into those post stitches from 2 rows previous. Like every other row, begin by making a half double crochet in each of the first 4 stitches. Then treble crochet into those next 2 stitches. Half double crochet the next 2 stitches, skipping over those 2 stitches in the back. And now you'll begin your cable. So the first part of the cable works across to these 2 stitches that are on top. A double treble stitch around these 2 cables that are crossed in the front. And another double treble into the second. Or around the second, rather. Skip 2 stitches in the back and half double crochet into that 3rd stitch. This one is the easier cable where you cross in front. You're going to work your next 2 double treble crochet stitches into these 2 from the previous, or the 2 rows previous. So yarn over 3 times, and we're going to double treble around this first post stitch. And then we will double treble around this second post stitch. Remember to always work the half double crochet in between these groups of 2 post stitches. It helps the cables to look better in the end. So yarn over and half double crochet into the 3rd stitch from the back. And then for the last 2 stitches, you are going to work your treble crochet stitches into these 2 stitches that are crossed behind. So you yarn over 3 times and find that first post stitch, work around it, and then find the second post stitch and work around it. Half double crochet the next 2 stitches, skipping over 2 and behind, half double, treble around each of these 2 post stitches, and then half double crochet into the next 4. For the remainder of whatever you're making, you are just going to repeat those last 4 rows where you have a half double crochet row in between, and then you work the cables where you cross behind on the one side and in front on the other. For the Niamh sweater scarf, for the swatch, you should be making at least 20 rows to get an accurate swatch measurement. After you've completed your 20 rows, your swatch should look like this. You can clearly see that beautiful braid now, those post stitches running up the sides. I absolutely love this basic braided cable. Now, if you're using this swatch if you're watching this video to learn how to make your swatch for the Niamh sweater scarf, you are going to measure the center of your swatch, both for the number of stitches and for the number of rows. Record that pre-blocked gauge and then go ahead and block this swatch. So for me, I've got about 2 stitches on this side of those post stitches, and I've got more like 3 stitches on this side of those post stitches in 4 inches currently. The post stitches and in is 16 stitches, so 16 plus 5, 21 stitches. The gauge in Niamh is 20 stitches. So when I blocked my swatch and when I blocked my finished sweater scarf, my swatch grew slightly this way to get me those 20 stitches in 4 inches. For measuring the rows, I recommend measuring in this area here rather than on the outside. As you can see from my swatch bows out at the end a little bit. These cables really cinch things down, they hold things down, and the chains at the side of your work can either pull your work or stretch your work out. So I don't want to measure out there. I'm going to measure in here like this. So I'm currently getting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 and a little bit rows in 4 inches. The gauge in the Niamh sweater scarf is 16 rows. So when I block this, it will stretch only a little bit vertically and only a little bit horizontally to get me those 20 stitches and 16 rows that I need in my swatch. And that concludes the tutorial on how to make a braided cable and how to make the swatch for the Niamh sweater scarf. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like, comment down below. If you have any pattern related questions, do please email them to me as I might miss your comments, and subscribe to the channel for future educational crochet content. Thank you so much for watching. Happy crocheting, everyone. Bye bye.